In 1996, Clay Mathiel, multi-billionaire and leader of the Iams Pet Food, founded the Center of Entrepreneurial Education right here in Dayton, Ohio. Clay was very concerned about the auto factories closing down and other big businesses like NCR closing down, leaving Dayton, and he wanted to help grow and strengthen small businesses so they could fill the gaps in the Dayton business market. By the way, 3 years later, he sold Iams for what was known as the largest cash deal ever with Procter & Gamble, and for $2.3 billion. So he did well for himself. He was a great leader. In 1997, me, little entrepreneur, Greg McAfee, McAfee Heating and Air, 7-year-old company, attended a president's course at the Center of Entrepreneurial Education. I knew very little about professional management, and honestly, I knew very little about business. I was a heating and air guy. I started with nothing, and I started with $274 in a used truck, and I just went out and hustled and made things happen the best I knew how. But here I was, a little dog barking at the moon, sitting right next to Clay Mathiel in this president's course class. And honestly, from the class, I learned some, but very little, because I was so ignorant in business. But it inspired me, and I took more classes, and there were two people that helped start this entrepreneurial center, and they were Dave Sullivan and Bill Matthews, and I owe them a lot because I learned a lot from them. I learned and understood the importance of great mentors. I learned forming a board was very important, which I did, and building stronger teams, and the value of great leadership. I also retook the course several years later and learned 10 times more than I did the first round. So I was glad I did. Today, the Center of Entrepreneurial Education is known as Aileron, and it's right here in Dayton, Ohio area. Put a picture of it up there, but it's big. I think it was somewhere, Clay invested $15 to $20 million in this, bought somewhere around 100 acres of land and put it out there so business owners, entrepreneurs could take courses and learn more about professional management and running a successful business. Now let's go. Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. Okay, welcome back. This is the Greg McAfee Show, where we discuss steps to successful entrepreneurship, how to take your business to new heights, and ultimately follow your dreams. Today, we're going to be discussing the value of constant learning as a leader. Constant learning is crucial for leaders for several reasons, and number one is adaptability to change. You see, the business landscape, folks, is dynamic. If you're in business, you know that. And change is part of our job. Change is just part of our job. Constant learning equips us with the knowledge and the skills that we need to adapt to new technologies, new market trends, and industry shifts, which we see a lot of in the trades. And it ensures that our company remains competitive and resilient. And who doesn't want that? Number two, innovation and creativity comes from a constant learning leader. because constant learning fosters a mindset and innovation of creativity. Now, you've got to get this, folks, because if you're going to remain competitive in your industry, you've got to be creative. You've got to be innovative. Matter of fact, I often refer to the McAfee way, and one of our ways is innovation, because we are growing and learning constantly, and we're always ahead of the competition. Always. We have been for years. Even when I started, and there was 489 companies, and we worked our way to, say, 350, we were way ahead of most. We weren't there yet, but we were way ahead of most. And we just kept going until we worked our way to number one, top of mind in our residential HVAC market. So constant learning fosters a mindset of innovation. And leaders who actively seek out new ideas and perspective can inspire their teams to think creatively, and they can find solutions to challenge and drive innovations throughout their company. I mean, it kind of spreads. And let me stop right there and say, just about anything a leader does positively or negatively can spread. And it will spread. Whatever you want to spread, you start doing yourself, and you start letting your people see it. And I guarantee it'll spread. Now, is everybody in your whole company going to get it? No. But if 80% does, is that a good thing? Yes. All right. Number 3, what does constant learning as a leader do? Well, it enhances decision making. And one of my pet peeves is not being able to make a decision. When I coach other companies and they are hesitant about making decisions, I'm like, guys, come on, get it together. Right or wrong, make a decision. It's important. So learning provides leaders with broader knowledge, a broader knowledge base, and it enables them to make more informed and strategic decisions, and it gives access to more information. The more you learn, the more access you have to information. And also you have more access to perspectives, and it allows leaders to handle the day-to-day problems that we deal with. And I don't care how good of a leader you are, you're going to deal with day-to-day problems. I don't care how good of a leader you are, you're going to have fires that you need to put out. And it's, the guy that says, well, if you're delegating properly and you put the proper people in place, you won't have to deal with those. Trust me. I know leaders that are worth $2.3 billion all the way down. And we all deal with some type of problem and some type of fire we have to put out daily. Also, the value of constant learning as a leader, it causes employee engagement and development. And boy, isn't that important today. We talk about that often here, but that's extremely important. Leaders who prioritize learning set an example for their teams. Like I said, whatever you do, you're setting the example for the team, and it's spreading, and they're catching it. They see it. By demonstrating a commitment to personal and professional growth, leaders inspire and encourage their team to invest their own development, and in turn leads to more engaged and a skillful workforce. So, the old saying is, I don't want to train my people because what if they leave? Well, what if you don't train them and they stay? Which would you prefer? Okay. I train. I train. I want the best trained staff available. And we're going to train them our way. But the way that I have learned over the years by being a constant learner has helped me train other people in very similar ways and in very similar knowledge. Now, I'm not training them in business knowledge that they don't need to know. I'm training them in soft skills, a lot of customer service across the board, across the whole team, a lot of soft skills, a lot of Ask questions, ask proper questions. You'll get better results. All those types of things. That's what we're training. So in order for an employee to be engaged and develop, the leader has to be constantly learning. Constantly learning. I'm doing this, as a train goes down the track. It's constant and it's strong and it's powerful, okay? Of the value of a constant learning leader, number 5 is effective communication. Effective communication. Constant learning improves communication skills, allowing leaders to articulate ideas, goals, and strategies more effectively. Clear communication is essential for keeping your team informed and updated where the company is going. So when we hold a company meeting early Saturday mornings, which is when our company meetings are held, and they have been since the garage days when I sat at a desk and had 3 people in front of me, Saturday mornings is the best time for us. There's less stress. There's less phone calls, unless it's 0 degrees or 100 degrees. But 90% of the time, it's a very good time to have a company meeting. And we go from 8 a.m., full breakfast catered in, full agenda, to around noonish, and 4 times a year, once a quarter. Everybody knows when they're scheduled, everybody knows when they are, and they're mandatory. So I say all that to say we create a effective communication by keeping the company informed. I often ask, there's always somebody new in a company meeting, and I often ask, why do we have company meetings? Because I want the new person to learn why, and other people will say to keep us informed, to keep us updated, and basically to let us know what's going on. So that's why we have company meetings. Very important. Number 6, on being a learning leader, it creates building a learning culture. Okay? Our culture, I'd like to think our culture is constantly learning and changing in different ways of improvement. Okay? The culture doesn't change. I point back to this. The culture doesn't change. This is who we are and this is what we do. But it does change as far as learning and improving. And leaders play a pivotal role in shaping their culture. It's your culture, folks. It's your business. When leaders embrace continuous learning, they contribute to the establishment of learning culture within the company. Now, this culture that's created encourages curiosity, adaptability, and commitment to ongoing improvement, which, if you're constantly learning, you're concerned about ongoing improvement. They kind of go hand in hand. And I say ongoing improvement for a reason. Okay? Okay. A constant learning leader stays informed about industry trends. Okay? Leaders need to stay abreast of industry trends. It's very important. Our trends change all the time. Our trends are constantly changing. And they change in technology advancements, they change in best practices, but they change. And if you're a growing company, and especially if you're number 1 in your market, you definitely want to stay up with changes. So the knowledge that you gain from staying up with these things and being informed enables us to make strategic decisions that keep our team up on things and ahead of the curve, okay? I want to keep our team ahead. We want to be ahead. We want to be ahead not only in technology advancements, we also want to be ahead in best practices. And number 8, a constant learner, risk management. When we learn about our potential risks and challenges, it helps leaders anticipate and mitigate issues before they escalate. And man, who doesn't want to do that? I mean, they only become a fire when you don't mitigate these issues before they start burning, okay? The best time to catch it is before they start burning and it does not become a fire to put out. So by staying informed, leaders navigate more effectively, and we make decisions that minimize the risks in our company. And again, I say all that, and I say, who doesn't want to do that? These are very important things. And if you're constant learning, you're going to be ahead of the game. And then number 9, we maintain relevance and credibility. Boy, which is extremely important. You see, constant learning helps leaders stay relevant in their roles in the industry. It enhances our credibility and our knowledge. We become more knowledgeable, and we become, listen to this is one of my favorite, forward thinkers. Forward thinking, man. We become forward-thinking leaders, earning the respect of our teams, our customers, our vendors, and yes, even our competitors. Because I'll tell you, when other companies go up against McAfee, I'd like to think they shudder. It's kind of like on The Lion King, when they said the name Mufasa, and they would shudder. When you hear the name McAfee, I'm going up against McAfee. It's always tough. And unfortunately, like I've mentioned before, we're either going to have to lie and tell or come up with things why the customer shouldn't go with McAfee, like they're the highest price company around. But I'd like to think they shudder, but I'll tell you what they do is they know we are respected highly because we're number one for a reason. And I don't say that in a bragging way whatsoever, but I do say that in a proud way because we've worked hard for that number one spot, and we've kept it for several years. So, constant learning leaders stay relevant in their roles. Think about that. How many classes have you taken this year as a leader? How many podcasts do you belong to? Okay? How many do you subscribe to? How many seminars have you attended in your industry? If you can't answer those questions, guys, you're not staying relevant in your industry or in your role as a leader either. All right, then lastly, constant learning leaders promote personal growth and resilience. I love that word resilience too. Leadership is a journey, and it's a journey of personal growth. Constant learning allows leaders to develop resilience in the face of many challenges. We learn from our failures. We're not afraid of failures. I've failed hundreds of times. I've made several mistakes. I've said things wrong. I've caused people to quit. I'm short-tempered at times. I'm very short in the patience. I'm very impatient, put it that way. But I'm constantly learning. And I learn from those things. I learn from being impatient. I learn from being short-tempered at times. I learn from that, and I continue to refine my leadership skills. And over time, I improve. I've come a long way in 33 years, trust me. I've come a long way in the last 10 years, and I've come an even longer way since I had my quintuple bypass 2 years ago. The second chance of life, I'm rethinking things. How do you act? What do you do as a leader, for goodness sake, okay? But anyway, I never stop learning. The day I stop learning, I'm dead. I'm done. Flip me over. Get me out of here. Get someone else in here who's learning. Never stop learning. I'm a sponge. I read multiple things every day, multiple books, multiple articles, multiple publications. I read and learn from other people. I'm never the smartest guy in the room, and the day I am, it's over, okay? I never want to be the smartest guy in the room. I learn from smart people, so I surround myself with smarter people than me. And if you've got an ego problem thinking you're the smartest person in the room, you need to change the room, okay? So I never stop learning. So we've had 10 things that comes from constant learning leaders. Adaptability to change, innovation and creativity, enhanced decision-making, employee engagement and development, effective communication, building a learning culture, staying informed in the industry trends, risk management, maintaining relevance and credibility, and also personal growth and resilience. Wow, those are awesome. I hope you took something away from this today. In summary, constant learning is essential to a leader, especially to a leader that navigates through a rapidly changing world like we do today. It fosters innovation. It makes leaders make informed decisions, and it creates a culture of continuous improvement within the company. It is a key ingredient for effective leadership in the modern business environment we experience today. Wow. Well, I taught this stuff, and I'm saying it's good stuff because I'm a constant learner. So I'm learning from it. If I can learn from it and I'm teaching it, you can learn from it listening, right? I hope you did. So before we wrap up, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe below. You can also support this podcast by rating or reviewing on iTunes or your preferred listening platform. Keep listening. I'll keep challenging you the best I can. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Greg McAfee Show. No spaces, no underscores. Be sure to tune in next week. We've got some great stuff happening. And as always, thanks for listening. Carry on. God bless. We're not guaranteed tomorrow, so make this a great day today.